So during the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, there was a woman who would throw rubbish upon him. So every time the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, would leave his house to go to the mosque, he had no choice but to go past the house of this woman. And throughout the course of the day, she would spend the day collecting all of the garbage, all of the rubbish from her house. And then towards evening, she would sit and she would wait for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to go by. And when he would go by, she would take all of that garbage, all of the rubbish, and she would throw it upon him. Under all of this experiences, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, never one day retaliated. He never one day even looked at her in a harsh manner. This went on for a very long time. So it so happened that one day the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, yet again finds himself walking past her house en route to the mosque. And of course he's probably expecting a repeat action from this lady, but this time nothing happens. She's not there to throw the garbage upon him. And instead of being relieved, and instead of continuing on his journey, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he halted and he became concerned. And he asked someone nearby about the whereabouts of this lady who had been so abusive to him for such a very long time. Now the reason for the Prophet's asking was because he genuinely had a concern for that woman. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, of course, was wondering what had happened to her. And eventually he learned that she was ill and she was resting at home. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, of course he was concerned. Considering the circumstances, many of us may even relish taking advantage of the situation in order to get revenge or just to gloat in some way. But the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had a different idea. He went to visit the lady and asked her how she was doing, and he offered his help to her around the house to make her life easy for her during her sickness. The lady, of course, was not only shocked but humbled and embarrassed by her treatment of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and was in extreme admiration that he had returned her evil with goodness, and that he had not sought to go after revenge. What we can take away from this story is the power of kindness and patience. Without any act of violence or harsh words, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was able to win over that lady. When someone beats the opposition by force, the latter has no choice but to submit because they don't have the power to retaliate. But when you beat the opposition by the sheer quality of your character, they come over to your side willingly. Not only did the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, win over this lady, but it was a willing acknowledgement on her behalf, in the sense that his behavior was so powerful that she was willing to accept her mistake, and her heart was then given to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Another important thing to note is that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, never mentioned her previous behavior. He gave her a clean slate almost immediately, and he did not at any point in time address her abuse at all. He treated her with genuine kindness from the very beginning. As we go through life, many times people will do things to us. We will be greeted with evil on a regular basis. But the Quran tells us in chapter 41 verse 34 that good and evil can never be equal. Repel evil with good, and the person who was your enemy becomes like your intimate friend. In this life, people will test you. People will push your boundaries. People will push your buttons, so to say. People will take advantage of you. In every situation, be sure to adopt a dignified and civilized approach. No matter how people may treat you, never stoop to their level. Ignore them and show them that you are much higher than them. You are better than that. Be the bigger person and maintain your dignity. Maintaining your dignity doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination that you are weak. It actually gives you power over the offender. People will push you and people will provoke you until they bring out your ugly side. And then at that point, they will then have the audacity to play the victim themselves. But I say to you this morning, don't let them pull you down to their level. Simply walk away with your dignity intact and you're with your head held high. Treat them with silent confrontation rather than fire back or get into an argument. You can confront them without even opening your mouth. Just maintain eye contact, give a calm smile, and that in itself, of course, indicates that you know what your tormentor is doing. And eventually they'll feel so uncomfortable that they'll stop doing what they are doing and they'll eventually leave. Walking away from confrontation, maintaining your dignity, and being the bigger person doesn't mean that you should become a pushover. It simply means sometimes in life it is better to choose your battles than to waste your time, your energy, and your resources on someone who has an upturned vessel. I say to you this morning, become selective of your problems. Become selective of your arguments. Become selective of your confrontations. Instead of using up that energy, start saving your energy for the things that really matter in life. Of course, you can be firm, but you don't have to be aggressive. Appreciate yourself enough to not degrade yourself to a lower class of mentality. Don't look for appreciation from other people, because very rarely would you find it. Rather, look for appreciation of yourself from within you. You have to be the force of your appreciation. You appreciate you for who you are, and if you can do that, you will never ever be disappointed. Dignity doesn't just mean that you always have to be stiff and composed. It means having firm belief in oneself, that one is worthy of the best. Dignity means that what I have to say is important and I will say it when it is important for me to say it. Dignity really means that I deserve the best treatment that I can receive, and that I have a responsibility to give the best treatment to the other person as well. So today and every other day in your life, my message to you is a simple one. Whatever you are faced with in life, always adopt a dignified approach. Repay evil with goodness as much as you possibly can. Respect yourself and have strong belief in your abilities to achieve. Because in this world, you are less likely to find someone who does. I pray that Almighty Allah blesses you. Allah bless you with the courage and the strength to face all challenges, all hardships, all difficulties, and may He remove all obstacles from your path.